While most of the footballing world, myself included, are focusing on the La Liga title race this season, with Real and Barcelona separated by 4 points with 6 games to go, including an El Clasico, there's another title race in just as big of a league that's even closer. Yes, over in the Serie A, Inter Milan and Napoli are both level on 71 points, and thanks to the Serie A's tie-breaking rules, there's a very real chance that something we've never seen before in the modern game takes place. In this video, I'll be talking you through the Serie A title race between Inter and Napoli, how they've performed this season, the games they have left, and the controversial way that the title will most likely be decided. First, let's talk about Inter. So Inter under Simone and Inzaghi have been pretty much the best team in Italy for the past few years. They won the Serie A by a whopping 19 points last season, and they're the only Italian team to make the Champions League final since Juve almost 10 years ago now. Going into the season, they were definitely the clear title favorites. But much more interesting is the story with Napoli under Antonio Conte. Now, a few months back, I actually did make a video talking about why Napoli are playing so well under Conte, so check that out if you want some more details, but I'll still give you the brief rundown here. So basically, Napoli 2 seasons ago, out of nowhere, played some of the best football the Serie A has ever seen and dominated the league, winning with 90 points, 16 points ahead of second place Lazio. That season was the breakout for top players like Victor Osimhen, Kim Min-jae, and Kvicha Kvaratskhelia, and of course, the one and only Juan Jesus. However, the season after that, despite the fact that they kept Kvaradona and Osimhen, they absolutely plummeted. This is because Napoli's owner Aurelio De Laurentiis is a super controversial guy that's notoriously impossible to work with, and as a result, Luciano Spalletti, the coach that got them to first place, left the club. Napoli spent the season hopping between mediocre managers and ended up finishing in a shambolic 10th place, nearly 40 points behind what they had achieved the season before, one of the worst title defenses ever. But now this season, with the incredible Antonio Conte, despite having gotten rid of Osimhen and Kvara, they're right back up at the top of Serie A. This is mostly thanks to their absolutely incredible defensive record this season, and players like Lukaku, Politano, and McTominay popping up with crucial goals at the right time. For the majority of the season, Atalanta was keeping up with these two as well, and it looked like it was a 3-horse race for the title, but like Atleti in La Liga, Atalanta have dropped off a little bit lately, leaving Inter and Napoli level. Now, to compare both these teams' chances of winning the title, let's look at the games that they have left. This is a brilliant data visualization done by the Reddit user R.A. King. So this is actually from a few matches ago, so let me edit it so you could just see the games they have left now. Looking at it, you'd think that Napoli has by far the easiest time to end off the season because pretty much all their opponents are below Inter's, and you'd be right. But some of these games are going to be tougher than they seem. Parma, for example, are on a long streak of draws, including against Inter and Fiorentina, so Napoli could definitely drop points against them. With that being said, Napoli did already beat Parma earlier this season, and every single team they have to play, so it's looking pretty good for them. But you could say the exact same for Inter, who despite having tougher opponents, have also managed to beat all of them pretty convincingly earlier in the season, including a 6-0 thrashing of Lazio. However, we have to keep in mind that Inter do also have the Champions League and Coppa Italia semi-finals to worry about, as well as possibly the final of both these competitions. Napoli, however, only have to worry about the Serie A. So on paper, it's definitely Napoli's title to lose, but don't underestimate Inter. I still think it's pretty likely that they have a near perfect end to the season, and I think the chance of Napoli and Inter remaining on equal points is extremely high. But what's going to happen if they do end up on equal points? Well, I teased this earlier in the video and you probably saw it on the thumbnail, but there's a really high chance of there being a playoff between Napoli and Inter to decide the title. Let me explain. So the Serie A looked at every other top league and decided they wanted to be unique and special and different when it comes to deciding the title, so they don't use goal difference or head-to-head as their main title decider. They go straight to a one-match playoff if teams are level. Now this is a pretty recent development. It used to be head-to-head, and they do use head-to-head to decide every other position if there's a tie. But in 2023, Serie A teams voted to make an exception for the top 2 teams and go straight to a one-match playoff. They're not looking at goal difference, they're not looking at head-to-head, they're not looking at yellow card. They're just going straight to a playoff. So despite the fact that Inter have a significantly higher goal difference than Napoli, that actually doesn't matter. Well, it matters, but only a little bit. The team with the higher goal difference, Inter in this instance, will get home advantage for the playoff game. I, for one, really hope this playoff happens. I've never ever seen a top league decided by a playoff final. In fact, it's only ever happened once before, and it was also involving Inter in the Serie A back in 1964. I'd love to see it happen again. It'll be incredible entertainment. Conte going up against one of his old teams that he won the Scudetto with in their stadium. And since they've drawn both games this season, it'll probably go to penalties. An entire 38-game league season being decided by a penalty shootout is insane, but it very realistically could happen. Well, what do you think about this Serie A title race? Do you want this playoff to happen? Do you think it's insane that they go to this as a first resort before goal difference or head-to-head? Let me know all of this in the comments below and subscribe to Footballers for more videos like this one.